How to live a real spiritual life? What is the value of a religion? How can we find out the truth? Why do people turn to a religion? It could be to find answers to questions such as, where do I come from? Why do I live? Where am I going to? Whatever the reasons, a religion provides direction and aims to discover more about the spiritual life. Sometimes we can all feel an emptiness deep inside. That's because we have lost our close union and harmony with our Creator. Each religious book describes a method to deal with this emptiness and a pathway to reach a so-called divine destination. Which method really works? And which pathway should we follow? Which religious book is really inspired by God? In such a book we have to discover more about God as the Creator. In the movie The Reason for God, I explain why. Read about Abel's story from the beginning. God is eternal. If a certain faith comes from God, then it must have started at the beginning. To find godly wisdom, cohesion and consistency. Because these are the fingerprints we can find in our Mother Nature. To read about truth and reality. If it is not true, that is meaningless. We have to discover a godly solution to our emptiness deep inside in our self-centered nature. Because this is what we have to expect from a God of life, love and perfection. To find a pathway that leads to peace and love in our heart. Love keeps creation together. This must be the aim of our Creator. And we have to hear the voice of God. If this book comes from God, then He wants to use it to speak to us.
Let's have a look at each of these criteria.
The Creator. Is God described in the Bible as the Creator of our life? The Bible reveals God to us as the Creator of our universe and life. We have been created so God could share His life and love with us. We all have a desire for real love and happiness, and we all want to be respected and loved. It's a God-given design. Only too often we try to get this love from an inappropriate source. Ancient stories. Do the biblical stories really date from the beginning of mankind? The biblical stories are indeed very old. Around 15,000 tablets of clay, written around 2300 before Christ, were found in Syria. The stories from this source display similarities to the stories found in the first book of the Bible. Archaeologists have discovered many ancient places and found evidence that confirms facts as stated in the Bible. Now, what about cohesion and consistency? Can we discover a divine, godly and cohesion and consistency in the Bible? The Bible is a collection of 66 books written in 1500 years by 40 authors. It consists of two parts, the Old and the New Testament. There is a remarkable harmony and consistency between all these books. In the first part, the Old Testament, we can read how the first people lost their glorious lives with God. And we can find more than 60 prophecies about the Messiah who would come to restore our union with God. These detailed prophecies describe His whole life, from the very beginning until His very end. All of these elements define the identity card of the true Jewish Messiah. Professor Stoner calculated the probability that one man fulfills only 8 important prophecies. The probability is 1 out of 10 to 17, means 1 out of 100 million multiplied by 1 billion. It's not humanly possible for one man to fulfill all of these prophecies, but Jesus Christ did. And we have to remember that most of the prophecies about the Messiah are dated more than 600 years before Jesus Christ was born. And the Old Testament was closed and translated in Greek before the 2nd century before Christ. Therefore, the New Testament explains why Jesus Christ is the true Jewish Messiah. He has fulfilled all of the important prophecies of the Old Testament. He is the only legal Messiah. Truth? Did the events described in the Bible really occur?